we're going to give this demonstration in a second, but let me just kind of reinforce what we were talking about. So why can the world not be like a dream? I mean, it's really not that hard to find a way to really justify your position as the world being like a dream. I mean, you think of a dream of your own, and you could say, well, perhaps this is just my personal self-conscious as opposed to a different self-conscious. We talked about the two different types of waters in our two videos ago, and how the tip of the iceberg is like the ego, the bottom of the iceberg is like the personal subconscious, and the water itself that surrounds everything is more like the superconscious that sort of permeates everything. So if we think of a dream, it might be just that iceberg part, but that iceberg part can give you any sorts of sensory stimulation there is. Like you can have taste, smell, touch, and you're completely convinced of it while you're in the dream. And a lot of time you just have to wake up in order to know it isn't a dream, and that sometimes the rules of the world are completely broken. And that's what the example they give in the course as well, is that the rules can be completely broken in a dream, and yet you completely believe it. So I mean, it makes it a little easier to at least test the idea in your mind, hopefully, just knowing that. But anyway, this is a great example of what we're talking about too. So if you remember the guy I talked about at the very beginning, Parmenides, made a lot of arguments that the world can't move. There's nothing that can really change places, because in order for something to move or change places, there has to be a place with nothing. There has to be void. And that's something Democritus talked about too, is that there has to be a place where there's absolutely nothing where something can move to. And Parmenides made the argument, and a logically sound one, that that really is impossible. There can't be nothing. You can't think of nothing. There can't be nothing. What is always has to be. So what we think of as movement could be just like this screen. So let me give you the example. And this is Richard Brown's demonstration. And look him up on Facebook, or not on Facebook. You wouldn't appreciate me saying that. But look him up on YouTube to look up some of his videos. He does a really great job with a lot of ancient philosophy and philosophy in general. So anyway, here's our demonstration. So we have the ball that goes across the screen. So we can make the argument that ball moved, but did it? I mean, the example he gave was really quite brilliant, because he would say that, well, if you know anything about graphics, nothing really moved there. Of course, it looks like it moved, but if you read it like you would a flip book, like you were doing a little flip book of like a little stick man running, and you had a little flip book, it wouldn't be actual movement. It'd just be the image moving along in short little time variated scenes. So that's all it is, and that's just like a computer screen. And it's interesting that we always have a lot of, especially lately, a lot of analogies that really suit the course well. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that subconsciously we pull out these ideas from reality, from I would say the superconscious water part that's around the ice. And by the way, I should have said it at the time, but we talked about um, Abraham. What was it? No. Brahman being an indifferentiated, like sort of like the screen is, the sort of whiteness all around here. Let me just get this ball here for a second. So we talked about Brahman being like this screen, and like everything is undifferentiated, kind of all the same, and then Atman would be like a circle, like an individual entity within it. So this is, if we want to give the same analogy we gave for the human psyche, we can think of this as part of our giant iceberg. And this could be the Atman, as they say in the Hindu tradition. This could be the Atman, but the water around it is like, and I know it looks like this is just one little part in here, but like this whole area, what would be like Brahman, which is everything, and then its illusion to see this kind of thing. This is just Maya, as they would say. So lots of these ideas out there. Just to recap, we can have all these senses at any time. So the question we really have to start asking ourselves is, is if we think of the world like a dream, I mean, you can always, there's a lot of examples, especially with Freud and Jung, where they analyzed dreams in order to understand what was going on in the psyche of an individual. So think of this as a very helpful thing to see the what's coming up in the world, and you'd be able to tell a lot about the psyche of the superconscious, which would be like that I know we keep going back to the same reference here, but that mirror, the initial mirror that the light hits, that spreads to all those little bodies. So that's an interesting idea to think about. So keep in mind all of these could be involved, every single one of them. But what happens before that is darkness. So this darkness, I think just about most of the mythology stories that I've heard of, usually it starts with this darkness and then it goes backwards basically. So from darkness comes light. But keep in mind, if the course is correct, if there is a dream involved here, so if there is a dream involved here, then that would make sense, right? There was darkness, then there was light. So it would be a light inside the consciousness that came up from a time of complete darkness. So our true eyes are closed. The Course often says that. So these are all ideas. Weigh them, measure them, give me your feedback. Tell me whether you think I'm completely off, if this is completely wrong. That's fine. I'll even if you say it completely disrespectfully, I'll write you back. I'm just eager to get your feedback as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully it kind of brought some ideas for you, and we will talk to you soon.